why did the Mahabharata actually have to happen? You know, we so often look at this massive ancient epic as just a grand historical story. A devastating war fought over a kingdom, this dramatic clash between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. But to truly grasp the events at Kurukshetra, we have to look way beyond the battlefield, and honestly, way beyond earthly politics. Today, in this explainer, we're embarking on a full-blown cosmic investigation. We're going to explore the Mahabharata not as the start of a historical conflict, but as the absolute, unavoidable culmination of a profound decline of Dharma. It's so tempting to point fingers, right? To just ask, well, who is the real reason behind all this bloodshed? Was it simply a political feud driven by Duryodhana's massive greed? Or maybe Yudhishthira's fatal inability to just walk away from a disastrous dice game? And while those human moments are super important, our sources tell a much, much deeper story. We kind of have to shatter the common assumption that this was just a family dispute gone terribly wrong. The true cause was so much bigger than any single person's anger or ambition. The brilliant Indian philosopher Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan hit the nail on the head here. He reframes our whole perspective by calling the war the inevitable outcome of Dharma and crisis. This is the paradigm shift we need for this explainer. The conflict wasn't a political failure. It was a profound disaster triggered when the very concepts of truth, justice, and righteous duty were basically forgotten by everyone. Because think about it, when a society collectively abandons its moral compass, a great reset doesn't just become likely, it becomes completely unavoidable.
Okay, let's dive right into section 1. More than a family dispute.
So when we contrast the earthly politics with the higher cosmic purpose, a totally different picture emerges. The political view highlights the family feud, that infamous dice game, but the cosmic view, it shows us something way bigger. Early Jain texts, like the Harilamsa Purana, suggest the war happened because of this massive, accumulated karma from past lives. Other ancient traditions tell us that even Krishna was actively shaping these events for a much higher cosmic purpose. The earthly politics, that was really just the stage setting for a civilizational reset.
So what did this civilizational crisis actually look like on the ground? Well, it was marked by severe, widespread moral decline. Kings literally forgot their primary job as the custodians of Dharma. Instead of protecting their people, they were using their power to exploit the weak and absolutely plunder the earth's resources. They were hoarding instead of providing. The Kauravas are the perfect example of this, representing a stubborn, aggressive territoriality that totally replaced human generosity. Leaders were behaving worse than animals, and the whole cosmic order was beginning to fracture.
Moving on to section 2, the cry of the earth. This brings up such a vivid, heartbreaking image from the Srimad Bhagavata Purana and the Mahabharata. The earth goddess, Bhūdevi, literally could not bear the weight of these arrogant kings anymore. Taking the form of an anguished, weeping cow, Gomata, she seeks out Lord Brahmā, the creator, because human leadership has completely failed her. Her back is broken by their ambition, her udder sore from their relentless greed. She is desperately seeking divine intervention. Now, to really understand why the earth was weeping, we have to look at the true definition of Dharma. It is the ultimate code of civilization. We're talking about discipline, generosity, empathy, sacrifice. It's the very glue that ensures harmony between human culture and nature. Kings were meant to be the earth's cowherds, right? Maintaining this code so there'd be enough for humanity and nature alike. But by trading empathy for pure exploitation, they broke that secret contract. A massive cosmic intervention wasn't just an option anymore, it was required.
Which brings us to section 3, the divine master plan.
Brahmā realizes this is a crisis of preservation, meaning it requires the sustainer of the cosmic rhythm. So he leads the Devas to the highest authority. He goes to Lord Vishnu, who rests on Adi Ananta Shesha, the vast serpent of time. Hearing Brahmā relay the earth's desperate plea, Vishnu, whose entire role in the Trimurti is to maintain the cosmic order, makes a promise. He swears to descend to earth to teach these corrupt kings a devastating lesson and ultimately restore the balance of Dharma. And this divine plan maps perfectly onto the human characters we know so well. They were definitely not random players, they were creatures of destiny. The Devas themselves incarnate as human beings to make this reset happen.
Arjuna? He is the incarnation of the ancient sage Nara, representing human action. Krishna is the incarnation of Narayana, Vishnu himself, representing divine wisdom. And here's the thing, one without the other is useless. Together, as man and God, they are born into the world with a very specific, inseparable mission to restore Dharma. Let's look at section 4, Krishna's quest for peace. Krishna's approach here offers an absolute masterclass in leadership and diplomacy. Because his primary goal was restoring Dharma, not starting a war, he systematically exhausts every diplomatic option on a cosmic checklist. He uses the 4 methods of the Arthashastra. First, Sam, logic and emotion to try and convince the Kauravas. Second, Dham, offering an ultimate compromise, asking for just 5 villages, like modern-day Delhi and Panipat. Just 5. Third, Bed. When that fails, he tries to divide the Kaurava camp. And finally, Dhan, the threat of force. He literally did everything possible to restore order without a single drop of bloodshed. But we all know what happens next. Duryodhana flat out refuses. He famously declares he won't part with even a needlepoint of territory. He even outrageously tries to capture and arrest Krishna right there in the court. By going back on his word and rejecting a perfectly reasonable, generous compromise for the sake of peace, Duryodhana destroys the foundation of Dharma. He proved once and for all he was unfit to rule, making the horrific, bloody war at Kurukshetra a tragic necessity. Section 5, the dawn of Kali Yuga. So, the war takes place, millions perish. The Pandavas, guided by Krishna, do emerge victorious, and order is supposedly restored. But the cosmic timeline waits for absolutely no one. The profound tragedy of the Mahabharata is that Krishna's victory, while entirely necessary, could only temporarily restore the health of the world. It couldn't stop the natural aging process of the universe. The victory basically just prepared the world for the dawn of the Kali Yuga, the 4th and final quarter of the world's lifespan. And it's an age defined by profound moral uncertainty and a total loss of innocence. The ancient texts warned of a really stark reality for the Kali Yuga. We're talking about an age where only a quarter of the world's original values survive. Generosity gives way to hoarding, true justice is abandoned, and only raw power is respected. Actually, scratch that, it's worse. The wise actually start arguing for the law of the jungle, and, given the chance, every victim turns right around into a victimizer. This isn't just some ancient mythology, it is a timeless, chilling warning about what happens when any society undergoes collective ethical decay. Finally, section 6, the eternal war within. So how in the world do we survive in an age of such moral uncertainty? To find that answer, we have to bring this massive cosmic investigation all the way back down to the granular psychological level of the individual. We have to turn to the Bhagavad Gita. Remember, the Gita is delivered right in the center of the battlefield, literally moments before the catastrophic war begins. Arjuna is paralyzed by doubt. And here again, we see Nara and Narayana. Arjuna, representing the human mind, turns to Krishna, representing divine wisdom. This dialogue isn't just history. It represents the 2 selves inside every single one of us when we face a crippling crisis of identity and duty. So the crucial point to take away here is this. The physical battlefield of Kurukshetra transforms into a timeless allegory for the human mind. The Gita teaches us that the real war, it's the struggle for self-mastery against our own desires and selfishness. It firmly rejects the idea of just throwing your hands up, walking away, or practicing non-action. Instead, it preaches karma yoga. That means doing your selfless duty simply because it is the right thing to do, without obsessing over the rewards. It beautifully harmonizes duty, knowledge, and devotion into a literal manual for living. Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway from this incredible explainer. You see, the Mahabharata isn't just asking who started the war. The real question is, why did the universe allow it to happen? It happened because a society reached a tipping point where it had to make a choice between convenience and dharma. Every organization, every nation, and every single individual faces these exact same tipping points today. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. In your own life, in your own daily choices, when the ethical path becomes difficult and moral uncertainty sets in, are you going to choose the convenience of the law of the jungle, or are you going to choose dharma?